Bienvenue à tous. Welcome to Reporters here on France 24. I'm Mark Owen. In this edition, how do girls get even a basic education when a system is stacked against them? Our reports from Uttar Pradesh in India, where a school is now striving to give the most disadvantaged girls the best possible start. In India, where a caste system still has strong influence, these Dalit girls usually have very few opportunities to learn. Our reporter is Ramahan Pratariya. He joins us now. Tell us, Ramahan, of the kind of obstacles these Dalit girls need to overcome.
So today, there is one number that sums up the education of girls in India. 40% of girls between the age of 15 and 18 dropped out of school, and 65% of them stay at home to do housework. The school, we film fight against these inequalities, but it's not always easy for these girls to continue their education. I'll take an example of Ishrat. She's 16 years old. We followed her for this report. She has a year of study left before she finishes her high school, but every day she fears that it will be her last day going to school. She's part of a very poor family, and her parents want to marry her off as soon as possible.
That gives us an idea. Ramahan, thank you very much indeed. Let's take a look then at the report with Dia Gupta.
These girls are between 12 and 16 years old. They all are students and all come from India's lowest caste, the Dalits.
In math, the teacher gave us some important exercises.
Yes, some theorems.
Ah, okay, you send them to me by WhatsApp?
Okay, and there was some English homework?
I don't think so. Our school is 12 kilometers away from my home. I take this bus every day to go there, and it allows me to meet friends. I get to talk with my girlfriends. I really enjoy this time.
16-year-old KANIKA is one of 1,600 girls from the state of Uttar Pradesh to attend the Pardada Pardadi school. It's an extraordinary educational project in India. School is free from kindergarten to 12th grade, and each student receives study material, uniforms, transportation, 3 meals a day, and even sanitary napkins. Here, everything is taken care of so that KANIKA and her fellow classmates can break past the limitations dictated by their social status and thrive in society.
Sital, Sapna.
I come from a rural area and my family cannot afford to pay for my studies. It's difficult to study because a lot of people are narrow-minded. They don't want to send their children to school.
I want to become a doctor, and I can fulfill my dream from here.
At school, KANIKA is also taking a course on gender equality. The level of gender discrimination in India is particularly high amongst Dalit women, who suffer disproportionately from cases of rape and murder.
Do you know anything about gender inequalities?
Gender inequality means discrimination between two genders. Especially in our society, discrimination between girls and boys. Boys have the right to study, to play. They can go outside for their studies. They can work. But for girls, there is a lot of discrimination. They cannot go out for their studies. They cannot go to school. Men think girls are only there for housework.
In her class, REENA Sharma teaches her young students to question gender determinism itself. This is a difficult task in India, particularly in the countryside where being born female is still considered a curse.
At home, our parents ask us all the time to drink less milk. to leave more for our brother. If we cook something good at home, our parents also ask us to eat less and always give more to our brother.
The boy have right to get the property of their parents. Girl do not have. So always parents feel oh, doesn't matter what he is doing, because he is secure person. His future is secure. Boy's future is secure because parents' property is the boy's property. But girl's future is not secure. They always think we will find a boy and she will marry and all problem will resolve.
The exercise I am giving you now is based on gender inequality. What are the biological characteristics of it, and what changes are due to social impact? For every situation that I give you, you need to say if it is a biological inequality, and you sit down, or if it is a social inequality, and you stand. Not studying, wear a dress, menstruation.
This is one of the missions that the school's faculty has set for itself, to change mentalities and change the image that women have of themselves.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. So good to meet you all. हमेशा याद रखना है, हम इस संस्था में जब एजुकेशन देते हैं तो हम एक उसको सकारात्मक नागरिक बनाना चाह रहे हैं, ताकि वो एक रोल मॉडल बने और समाज का विकास कर सके. If you give 100 rupees to a man, just imagine what man will do. He might party or he might bring some goodies home. But if you give 100 rupees to a woman, not only will she ensure that there's food for everybody on the table, but she will also invest it rightly. If given an opportunity for women to blossom, the society can be much better. And unfortunately, we are in a society which has a lot of differences. And one of the greatest differences that we have is in terms of gender disparity.
Young girls like these are victims of harassment and sexual violence within their own families. The school offers a theatre course on this theme. The goal of the class is to free their speech on this taboo subject. Here, a scene between a girl and her father-in-law.
Father, have your tea.
Oh, you have some tea? Put it here.
Stop touching my hands.
Why are you afraid?
Please, let me go.
Don't worry, no one will find out.
I'm like your daughter. You're my stepdad. Stop.
Come on, no one will find out.
While harassment and sexual violence are major obstacles for young Dalit girls, it's forced marriage that most commonly prevents them from completing their education.
When the parents arrange their daughter's marriage without permission and the girl doesn't want to get married, then she tells us about her problem. Or sometimes a friend of hers tells us. So I go to the family to meet her parents and try to dissuade them.
Here, the caste system rules the lives of hundreds of millions of people. Today, one of the teachers visits the family of a final year student who has been absent from school for several months.
Hello, how are you?
The mother of this 16-year-old girl is seriously ill and is trying to get her daughter married as soon as possible.
I'm telling you that you don't need to prepare for her wedding. Let her continue her studies. She will help you in the morning and the evening with housework. Her younger sister will be able to help you too. But don't stop your daughter's studies, okay?
No, I won't stop her.
Are you sure? Okay.
मैम बहुत-बहुत थैंक यू मैम जो आप मेरे घर आई और
mother और father हैं वो स्कूल आने के लिए
Her mother and father did not allow her to go to school anymore. You see, the mother is sick and she is in bed, so her daughter has to do the housework. Second thing, their economic condition is really bad. Her older brothers push her to get married, but she is far too young to be married now. I'm really happy because she agrees with me and she promised me that her daughter will go back to school from tomorrow. I'm doing this to make these young girls better. It is a dream for me to achieve this.
Those who were once called the untouchables therefore suffer from a double handicap, that of being born female and in a lower caste. We find Kanika in the village of Badpura, 12 kilometers from her school.
Where's the little bowl?
Please take it. Cut this into small pieces. The kids help me cook on Sundays. If I were alone, I wouldn't have time to do everything. I have to work all day at home, sometimes even letting my baby cry. I have too many things to do.
Mom, put this tea in a cup, please.
Kanika's education is a source of pride for her mother.
My parents did not allow me to study, so we want our daughter to be successful in the future. I have 3 daughters and no sons, but I still feel proud. Her father has a heart disease, and I also suffer from illnesses. If Kanika gets a good education, she will be able to fend for herself in the future, and she can take care of her younger sisters if anything happens to us.
I'm really a poor man. I don't have much money. Fortunately, I don't have to pay for Kanika's schooling. The school administration helps us a lot. It's thanks to them that my daughter will be able to move forward in life.
Yet despite best efforts, only 30% of Indian women work today. In addition to learning computer science, English and mathematics, these young students learn to arm themselves in a society structured by patriarchy. To prevent them from leaving the school prematurely, the headmistress offers them 10 rupees per day, 60 euro cents in addition to 3 daily meals. Thanks to this system, the pupils of the Pardada Pardadi school have an attendance rate of 85%, much higher than the other schools in Uttar Pradesh.
Ramahan is still with us. Thank you so much for your report. It was really interesting. It shows the remarkable job being done by the school that you featured in Uttar Pradesh. Tell us how this project got off the ground, how it was funded.
Well, Pardada Pardadi school was established in 2000 by Biren Singh. He's an engineer who returned from the United States to his hometown of Anup. And he was horrified to see the fate of these young girls whose parents want to marry at the age of 13. He wanted the social and economic freedom of women. This school operates with private donations. The state does not intervene because there are already many public schools. Most of these government schools are badly funded. The teachers are poorly paid, and there is a lot of absenteeism among the students who receive very little support.
And what happens to these Dalit girls when they go through the school or they go through the education? Do they carry on studying beyond that? Do they go into work? Do they get married off? Tell us what their fate usually is.
Well, there are great stories like that of Priyanka, a former student. When she finished her school, she was able to continue her studies further in Bangalore, in the south of India. She studied for 5 years to become a computer engineer. Now she works and gives part of her salary to her little sister so that they can continue study as well. But in the majority of cases after school, these women do not work because they return to live with their families and are forced into marriage. There's still great pressure from society on these young women to get married very quickly by stay-at-home mothers, even if they are educated.
And in the report, Ramahan, you say that the girls get 10 rupees a day. What role does this play in the school attendance, do you think?
Well, in reality, money is not the most important thing. These girls are going to school thanks to the persuasion of the teacher. Their families never imagined that their Dalit daughter could go to a school with good teachers and good education. Another important thing for these families is the school bus. In India, many young Dalits are still assaulted in public spaces, including buses. But thanks to the free transport, these girls can go to school safely and their families do not need to worry.
Ramahan, I'm wondering whether this whole project is beginning to change people's attitudes towards not just Dalits, but towards Dalit women in particular.
Well, this school has changed a bit. For example, in this village, when I visited the school, I met the students in the families, and I could see there is a change. The parents, they have changed their mind. It looks like that perhaps the society is not changing that fast, but it has already started from families one by one.
Sir, your smile sums it up, a story of real optimism. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you to Ramahan Pratavia and Dia Gupta for our report. You can, of course, see it again via our website, france24.com, and I recommend you do so. Thanks for joining us here in Reporters. Stay with us, but most of all, please stay safe.